guys! Welcome back to my channel. This is Tita Lavinia of Tita's of Pageantry, and for this episode, I am going to pay my debt and finally talk about gown suggestions for our very own Miss Universe Philippines 2022 Celeste Cortesi. So please make sure you stick around, please subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that bell notification button for your weekly pageant fix. Hey guys! How have you been doing? It is the 1st of July, and I think that it's just fitting to talk about this now before the craziness at Binibining Pilipinas, which we all know will take place, hopefully, if all goes well, on July 31st. So I know that you're noticing a new addition to the family. This is my new boy. His name is Bowie. He's only about 3 months old. So this is what's been keeping us and what has been keeping me from filming content for you guys. But, you know, in all seriousness, I have been pretty busy this past few weeks. I've been trying to expand on top of my usual YouTube content for you. I have embarked on other writing gigs as well, and I have been doing a lot of consultation works as well, but you know, pretty hush-hush. These are of course for some of the pageant girls who are in the running this pageant season. So we're going to get really very busy because July will be the month of, you know, actual events happening for Binibining Pilipinas. I know that they have stretched this for so long. I think they've been having pre-pageant activities for what, the past 3 months. So it's finally time to, you know, get the party started, and then hopefully when everything is all settled, have the finals by the 31st of July. Now I know a lot of you have been asking me, Tita, are you attending? Tita, do you need help? Tita, how can we send you something? It is a little embarrassing on my part to just give you all of my details during our live sesh. So I've been saving up for it as well. I've been saving up for the finals of Binibining Pilipinas as well. And I think I've opened this one up before. I was more into saving up for Binibining Pilipinas than I was for Miss Universe Philippines. So I have this one covered, but I know that a lot of you will still ask me for my details to get more involved. So yes, I appreciate it. If you really want to send me something, either for research or maybe for equipment, as I have plans of upgrading my equipment as well whenever I go to these live events, or if you just want to contribute something, I don't know, maybe for milk tea or maybe for dinner, for the finals, yes, I will accept it. Maraming salamat. It's not like I can turn you all away because that is still gracia. But yes, if you need my details, you can find them at all of my videos at the description box. I will be adding them from now on. So that should include my PayPal as well as my GCash details. So I know this is quite an introduction, but allow me, because I haven't seen you guys in quite some time, I just want to acknowledge some victories and some really fun things happening in Philippine pageantry. First of all, congratulations to Shane Tormes. A few weeks ago, I attended her victory party. She, of course, is our newest Miss Global 2022. So she had an amazing victory party at Hotel Okura. It was really, really fancy. And then, of course, we are so happy for the victory of Fuchsia and Ravenna. She is, of course, our Miss International Queen 2022. That was really well deserved. We talked about this on our live sesh, but I feel like, you know, we should give her recognition on a regular episode. So congratulations, Fuchsia Ann. And male pageantry is also gaining momentum these days. So recently they had Man of the World, and then Mr. International Philippines was also crowned. He is, of course, MJ Ordinalo, if I'm not mistaken. Is that how you pronounce his name? But anyway, he's really very good looking, very chiseled. A lot of people are thinking, you know, he could be a Filipino version of a Disney Prince Charming, and I totally see it. So congratulations to MJ as well as the rest of his Mr. International court. And then Allison Black is doing pretty well at Miss Supranational, and then a couple of days right after, we will be sending Rayed, and he is, of course, our Mr. Supranational. So yeah, very busy, a lot of things going on, a lot of coverage. So yeah. Now, as for me, I haven't been very active doing a lot of these contents for you because, yeah, I've been trying to make ends meet. As you know, YouTube is really good when it's in the middle of pageant season, but when you're done with pageant season, the drop in profits is just really so stark that you have to think of something else to, I don't know, make ends meet. So I've been saying yes to a lot of these media gigs, and I've been saying yes to a lot of these writing assignments. That one of the gigs that I landed was actually an invite for one of my favorite bridal events in this country. It's called Marry Me at Marriott. So this is actually my third year covering it. But what I really like about this event, apart from the amazing food and the company, is just the opportunity to be close to some of the luminaries of Philippine pageantry. So back in 2018, I was able to corner Kat in one of the events. It wasn't Marry Me at Marriott, it was another event called Tadhana. I was able to see Gazini. So I really took this opportunity to attend Marry Me at Marriott because I knew that three of our Miss Universe Philippines under the new franchise would make an appearance there. It was just so unfortunate that I prepared for everything. We even got a room in the area. We even had like a short staycation. But once I got there, once Celeste Cortesi was about to, enter the runway, my phone died. So needless to say, I have lots of memories. They're all in my head. Unfortunately, I don't have proof. I don't have video or photographic proof to tell you that I met them. I met Celeste Cortesi. I met her before, right after she was crowned Miss Earth, but this was the first time that I got to meet her as Miss Universe Philippines. And all I can say, guys, is that we have a super duper beautiful contestant, and I'm really very excited to bring this episode to you because I know that a lot of you have been asking me, Tita, what would be a good gown for Celeste, what would be a great color for her. And her appearance at Marry Me at Marriott in that ethereal gown with that halo headdress, it really cemented what we have been all thinking, that she looks really great with these ethereal cuts, this really goddess like styling. White is really a good color for her, so I thought I'd explore this. I have come up with 5 categories for you and 4 looks each, so go ahead, sit back, relax, and let's start on my suggestions for Celeste Cortesi when she competes at Miss Universe. For this episode, I mostly took a lot of whites, a lot of bridal houses, and then some blues and some deeper tones of blues. So yeah. Now, let me talk about white a little bit more because white is not a very common color on the international stage. Now, there have been winners, of course, who were successful in their white gowns, but I think the risk has something to do with deciding on a white gown and then holding on to it so that it wouldn't look too bridal. Now, over the years, at least in the past decade, we've seen some very successful white gown looks. We've had the likes of Miss Ukraine from 2013 in her bejeweled white gown, Clarissa Molina from 2015. She represented Dominican Republic, and that was a really good movement on a gown. Annie Porn from 2015 as well gave us a white gown that was more on the regal side and really showcased the craftsmanship as well as the embellishments that the ties are known for. And then we also had the likes of Olivia Jordan, who wore a white Berta bridal, and this was one of the very few lacy gowns that we've seen on stage. Of course, who can forget MJ Lastimosa and her Alfredo Barraza, which was really very polarizing at that time. And Casey Sayago of Venezuela also wore an embellished white gown from a bridal company. I'm not so sure how successful that was, but it was just really an example on how some bridal looks can really be transformed into an evening gown look for a pageant stage. Now, as for the winners, white has been pretty common for the winners of Miss Universe. In recent years, we've had the likes of Dayanara Torres, we've had the likes of Amelia Vega with her embellished shoulder to wrist details, and then we also had Natalie Glebova who wore white, but gosh, guys, who can forget that iconic Gucci gown that Miss Russia from 2002 Oksana Fedorova wore? Because I think that's still the benchmark. That's still the white gown that we judge all white gowns against. So if we could go at par with that because it was so simplistic, but it gave so much impact, then I guess we're good to go. So I have done 5 categories for you with 4 looks each, and I'm going to go with my first look, and I have coined this Ethereal Goddess. Now, we always picture Celeste Cortesi as a goddess because of that beautiful bone structure, beautiful face, amazing physique. For the first category under Ethereal Goddess, I would like to present to you this gown by Galia Lahav. Galia Lahav is an evening wear designer, a bridal wear designer. Now for this gown, this is a soft A-line chiffon dress, and it has a drapey top, and it has cutout details, so it's a little more open. I think this is really perfect for Celeste Cortesi because she has the physique to carry this. Now the top has a sheer detail, and it's embroidered with silk flowers as well as crystals that you can just imagine her walking on the runway with, you know, that invisible wind, and, you know, seeing that movement from the actual dress. I think this would look really, really good on her. My second choice is a Marquesa from their 2016 collection. Now the collection from 2016 were inspired by birds. So if you check out this gown, it's a very sheer gown. It has layers of tulle. But what's interesting about this is the feathery or the wing-like details on the bodice, because it seems so open, but it's also very modest if you come to look at it. And it seems so light, it seems so feathery, it seems like it would really move with the wind. Now, if you're familiar with this dress, this is probably because the Wilson sisters, Georgina and Jess Wilson, have been seen wearing this gown interchangeably. So yeah, we've had quite a number of appearances in this gown. My next pick is an Eli Saab from 2021. Now, I like this dress because this seemed more structure, and it had a pleated details on the bodice, but it's lined with gold embellishments. So it does remind you of those Greek goddesses. It does remind you of mythology, this gown. The bottom part is very simple. I like that it has some embellishments, but it's still very simple, so we could all bank on that beautiful face. My last gown for this category is, I'm gonna make this a little special. This isn't quite white. This is along the lines of ivory, but this is a George Hobeika from 2018. Now, what's really striking about this gown is the bosom detail. I think that this will frame the twins beautifully. I also like the idea that it's not very minimalist. If we still want a little bling, then the blingy crystal fringe detail, I think, will really work for us. And of course, the cut is very A-line. There's a lot of movement going on, so she can really do a lot with the dress. My next category, I have coined this romance. But this is also because, of course, Celeste Cortesi is half Italian. So I'm going to go and pull from Roman motifs. Now, these are, of course, how I pictured Rome, how I pictured antiquity. There are a lot of references to architecture, a lot of references to classical sculpture, classical architecture, and then, you know, everything classical from that period. So I'm going to start with a Tel Aviv, Israel-based design house called Chana Morellis. Now, if you look at this pick from this category, they manipulate a lot of fringe, but it's not the usual fringe that we see that just hangs down and then moves with the wearer. This is manipulated fringe with a lot of details that looks like it's draped. So I feel like I'm looking at a painting coming to life, or maybe a sculpture coming to life. So I don't know, it just has very Rome for me. Next, I would love to introduce you to a historic figure. If you're interested in fashion, this is someone you should know. She is, of course, Alex Barton, or who we know as Madame Grey. Now, Madame Grey, back in her time, was a leading French couturier, and she was also a costume designer. She was known to work really hard, but she was also known to be very secretive of her life. She lived from 1903 to 1993. So her work has been archived, her work has been studied. Now, she's best known for her floor-length drapey Grecian gowns, and she's also best known as the master of wrapped and draped dresses. So what I've been showing you guys are just shots from her museum exhibit, because her dresses are timeless, and if you look at it, because of the drapey aspect of the dresses, it does remind you of how women dressed in the antiquities. And I like how she was able to transcend, decades and still make these dresses relevant up until now. So I think Celeste Cortesi would look really, really pretty in one of her drapey dresses. Next, I also would love to see a dress. I don't know who can execute this, but I've also picked something that's more on the artistic side, and I'm talking about Zendaya's look at the Venice Film Festival. This gown was made by Balmain. Now, this was a bespoke gown, and yeah, the vendors are really making a killing this morning. So yeah, let's cheer for the vendors. It's really giving it their all. So yeah, the Zendaya Balmain gown was a custom-made leather gown, and it was formed and it was sculpted to a model that had Zendaya's proportions. So that's why it really fit to a T. Now, this gown, if we're going to bring this to Miss Universe, this will have such focus on technique and detail. It's going to be very difficult, but looking at how it fits Zendaya, looking at how it turned out, I mean, it's pretty obvious it could be one of those statues coming to life, or one of those sculptures from the grand fountains of Rome coming to life. And wrapping up this category, I am going to be presenting you with a 1992 dress. It's an archive piece from Dior, back when Gianfranco Ferré was their creative director. Now, the dress is called the Palladium dress, and if you're familiar with this dress, it really does look like one of those Roman columns, and it's more on the literal side of things. So if you're interested with that, if this is a direction that they're going for, more of an architectural direction, then I would really welcome it. Anyway, the Filipino designers have been going at it with, more and more fun ideas. Fuchsia and Ravenna had a really striking national costume, and, the ladies from Cebu as well, they always have, striking national costumes. So if we can employ the same artistic work to our evening gown, I wouldn't be surprised if they could come up with something very similar to the Palladium dress, which takes direct inspiration from a Roman column. Now, Dolce & Gabbana also made a version of this very recently. They had a collection in 2020 which took direct inspiration from this gown. But if you're familiar with the Palladium dress, this is most likely because you've been fans of Sailor Moon, and the creators were actually inspired by the Gianfranco Ferré dress from 1992 and made this as Princess Serenity's wedding dress. The third category for me, I have coined this celestial. Now, when I think of the word celestial, of course I think about the night sky, I think about the universe, I think about the stars, I think about the planets, I think about something really dark and mysterious. So yeah, let's go to the dark side a little bit with this one, but I will be giving you more embellishments for this category. Now, my first pick is from an Israel-based designer called Alon Livne. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. The ensemble came from his Terra collection, and it's embellished, but it's scattered, which makes you think about the night sky or the stars. And this is actually pants, so you can just, get your imaginations running wild and think that this could pass for an actual gown. Now, this is an asymmetric, not look sequin bodysuit with the double strap details. This is what they're known for, and matching trousers. So if you could just maybe imagine a skirt instead of trousers, this could really work as an evening gown. My next pick is from a design house called Drawer Geva. This is from their 2019 collection. It's a little on the silvery side. It has the same embellished patterns as the first gown that I picked for you. Now, this one is more structured. It has a sweetheart neckline, but I really like the scattering of the embellishments because it does still remind me of crystals. It reminds me of stars at night, but this one has, I think, more of that sheer thing going on while having everything secured because of that corset work. Next, let's go to the dark side a little bit. I picked the same beadwork treatment, but this time in a darker color, and I'm talking about a Valentino. I really like the sheer drapey fabric on this. I think that draping works really, really well for Celeste Cortesi because, you could really see the contours of her body, her S-line. I think this would be very flattering for her. Now, number 4, I will be adding in something a little funky, something a little more visual. This is, of course, Alexander McQueen from 2016. It was a night sky inspired gown that was worn by Nicole Kidman at the Met Gala for Manos Machina. So, it's really very literal. You see the moon, there are cutouts, so it's not something that's closed off. Even if it has a cape, it does give you a lot of movement, a lot of sheer fabrics, and also cutouts. So there's something very sensual about this Alexander McQueen gown. Next, let's move on to the 4th category. I will start with this beautiful bridal gown by Antonio Riva. He actually is Italian, by the way. So we don't have a lot of photos of this gown, but I just like how it was styled. It was like a classical painting with the lady with her beautiful bouffant, which is very similar to how Celeste Cortesi did her hair at Miss Universe Philippines. And I like the composition of this. I think that we could really see her in an asymmetric dress with just a drapey detail on one shoulder. Next, this one is a favorite of mine. I think that she can rock this. I'm talking about Alex Perry and how he goes for something that's streamlined, something that's really clean, and something that is just really amazing for those who have the body to carry such a design. And what he made is a structured slip dress. Now, the silhouette on this is not very far off the silhouette that she wore, the blush gown from the gala night. So it's not really far from that, but I like how everything is just so seamless and clean. Next, I will be adding the Eva Lendl Arita dress. This is one of my favorites because even if it's minimalist, it still feels very luxurious because of the fabric work, because of the beadwork. Fabric in itself, it doesn't have to be too busy because the fabric is already fully beaded. All they have to do is just have that sheer arm covering and then a drapey detail that goes into an off-shoulder type of cut for the bodice and something that's really fitted at the bottom with the option to make it more of an A-line shape if they add the train. So I think there's so many things that can be done with this dress, but it's a very sensual dress as well. So even if she's covered, all of that slinky details, and because it's just so close to the body, it's also quite sexy. Next, I would also like to add in the 4th look from Lee Gribano, if I'm not mistaken. This is also an Israeli designer, and this is more on the sea side, or like more of a mermaid type sort of dress, because it has the same treatment as the previous gown, as the Arita dress, but this one reminds me of Venus rising from the frothy waters. So it does have that mermaid quality to it, because if you look at the fabric closely, it's also fully beaded, it's white, so it's not really competing with a lot of other designs. It has a bit of a cutout, but what I like about this is that if you look at the fabric closely, it looks like embellished mesh. It looks like embellished fishnet. And now we move into the fifth category, and I am going to name this Celeste. If the previous one was called Celestial, and that was mostly darker colors, for the fifth category, I picked mostly blues for you. So the first pick is from George Hubeca's collection from 2018. This was a fully embellished gown, so there's really no shortage on bling on this gown. What I really like is the way the halter top crisscrosses on her bodice and then her neck. I think that's gonna be a really good showcase of her shoulders. And yeah, great beadwork as well. I also threw in one of my favorite pieces from Michael Cinco. This was from 2017. I remember making a post on this, and I remember describing this dress as the color of rain. So it's a fully embellished dress. I like this type of embellishment wherein you scatter the beads and it looks like it's either arranged randomly or very symmetrically, but I really like the scattering of the beadwork. My third pick is from Zuhair Murad. It's from 2019, and I like this because of the movement. I like this because of the iridescence of the fabric. The top part has lace appliques, but it has a very low neckline, so I think Celeste Cortesi could carry that without making it look hoochie. And also maybe a nod to Janine Tagonon. The bottom part as well as the sleeve detail or the cape detail had electric pleating. So I think that's going to be great for movement. Now, the last pick for this episode under the category Celeste, I have decided to pick Versace, and I will be dedicating this pick to that one commenter who asked me, Tita, would Celeste Cortesi look good in that same gown that Ariana David from 1994 wore at Miss Universe? Ariana David was, of course, the representative of Italy in 1994, and although there aren't a lot of pictures of this look, I was able to extract a little bit of a video for you on this iconic black dress, because black isn't something that a lot of these pageant girls wear, and I remember that this was so well received because this was a hooded gown. And luckily, years after, decades after, Donatella Versace designs for Versace and came up with a gown that was worn by Natasha Polly at the Amphar party in 2019. And I looked at it, it had the same hooded detail. I think it's a modern take of the same type of details we saw in 1994. So yeah, if you want to incorporate an iconic look from 1994, Manila Miss Universe with Miss Italy, I think that this is a good mashup. For Celeste's team, I hope you will not take offense. These are just fun suggestions. So yeah, we hope to see really competitive looks for Miss Cortesi this coming Miss Universe. So thank you so much, guys, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye!